I have a 3-year-old mare that has a barrel horse and does heavier workouts. She'll be laying down sleeping in the morning and is exhausted, but won't show it to me when we are riding because she wants to please me so badly. She is on light workouts for now until we get a supplement for her and shoes. No, she is not colicking. She is just so tired in the mornings and her muscles are sore. Do you have any recommendations for a supplement for her? In all capital letters. So clearly,
Uh-oh.
Ava really wants some help here. This horse kind of sounds like me in the morning.
It's actually kind of sounds like my young horse. I have a 3-year-old, and did I tell you he sleeps from 9 a.m. to 12 noon every day?
I think I sent you in an email the other day, a photo you sent me, and I was like, any photo I've ever seen of your horse is always laying down.
He's always laying down. And one of my friends said, I hope you don't have a test from 9 to 12 because he's not going to be, awake.
It's not going to go well.
So the point of that is that young growing horses, and at 3, I would consider hers, no matter the breed, a young growing horse. And they do need a lot of sleep, like children need a lot of sleep, just to grow and develop. So don't neglect that part of your horse's upbringing. I'm actually not going to recommend a supplement. What we're going to talk about is conditioning and training and rest and those sorts of things. You probably heard the phrases overtraining and overloading when it comes to like conditioning horses for events and just working a horse 7 days a week and showing every weekend and traveling. That's hard on them, and they need to rest, or they can have injuries. I mean, if you overload the tendons and ligaments and bones, even, you can have an injury. But a chronic fatigue can set in, and that can take a long time to they can recover from. But in this case, it sounds more like overreaching, where they might just be doing a little bit more than their 3-year-old is capable of at this moment in time. It doesn't say how long the horse has been under saddle, I think.
We don't mention that at all.
Okay. Because I went to my library and I picked up one of my favorite books. It's Conditioning Sport Horses by Dr. Hilary Clayton. And she talks a lot about how to prepare the horse that's new to being under saddle and whatever his discipline is going to be, as well as the adult horse who's already in the discipline, how to improve their fitness. And she talks about like the strategies for peaking for show, and layoff and that sort of thing. But I found some good statements in that book. As a general rule, horses should not perform the same type of conditioning exercise on consecutive days. And that helps minimize the risk of overloading injuries due to insufficient time between workouts to repair. So it could be that this horse is just not having enough time between even light workouts to rebuild, repair, regenerate tissue. It sounds like she needs rest, and that's what she should have more so than a supplement, I think. She also says, in a young horse that is being conditioned for the first time, the progress must be slow to allow for adequate time for the supporting structures, and that's the hose, the bone, the cartilage, the ligaments, the tendons, to adapt. It takes time, especially the soft tissues, the connective tissues, to adapt to the workload, the stress of activity.
Well, it's like even for people, if they take on a new workout regime, like if you also run 5 miles your first time running, your body's used to that, your bones and joints and ligaments aren't used to that. So if you try to keep doing that, it's gonna, you're gonna start seeing injuries and pain and soreness.
It's why there's this thing that some of us may be doing called Couch to 5K. Every week you get a different interval training. Interval training, by the way, is one thing that she talks about in her. She has 3 components of conditioning. There's cardiovascular, there's strength building, or building up your muscles, and then the suppling or maintaining flexibility. And in that cardiovascular conditioning, she talks about interval training in horses. It's the thing, inertial drills or speed drills. Like, remember in school when you had to run from the middle line to the end of the basketball court and back and touch it. Yeah, that's an inertial drill or speed drill. So they do that in horses too, especially ones that are in these sprint sports.
Well, I was gonna say for like barrel racing, that would be perfect for.
And the nice thing about her book is that once you get through the middle portion, which is general advice, like long, slow distance, in a young horse that's never, like, first time under saddle, can take 6 months where you walk mostly walk, a little bit of trot, and build them up, adding distance and speed over time so that your horse can do 45 minutes to an hour of walk and jog and lope comfortably. But that has to be built up slowly over time. And then after you get through that general advice, she gets to specific advice for barrel racing and talks about, and talks about the interval training and the inertial drills. But she also says the frequency of cardiovascular conditioning for these sprint type sports is 3 times a week in the early stages. It's reduced to 2 times a week when the acceleration sprints are well established. I mean, she gets really specific.
So 3 days a week, and then actually cutting down to 2 days a week once you've kind of built up.
Because you do it more frequently when you're building up. And then once your horse is established fitness, you can back off to when you're just maintaining. You don't need it as often.
Interesting. Okay.
This is important too. On the days between conditioning workouts, so you do not do a conditioning workout every day. The horse is schooled or exercised at a low intensity for 45 to 60 minutes. Now, I'm not an expert on barrel training, but I do know they do walk the pattern and work on turning and that sort of thing. So those would be great days to do that.
Like work on bending and stretching and getting the sound and things of that. Move off your leg and all that.
And then finally, in a young horse that is just being started under saddle, the frequency of exercise is every second day. So only 3 to 4 times a week. And the duration is short, 10 to 15 minutes. And the intensity is low, mostly walking, some trotting. So I want to make sure that this person has done that preparatory work before they've got into the actual specific barrel race training on a horse. Because you might need to back up a step and restart and let her horse, get on a schedule, use your journal and document it, and give the horse some adequate time to rest.
Yeah, and to your point about the journaling, you can journal, be like, okay, I did this yesterday, and then this morning she was less tired or was more tired. Do I have to back off or adjust for tomorrow or what I'm doing?
Perfect. Yep, that's exactly how you do it.
Well, I think that was perfect. And I think with all of us, we all fall into the habit. We get really excited with our horse doing something. And we want to do more and more of it. So this is great advice, and especially for 3-year-olds. So Ava, I hope that helps you, and definitely keep us up to date on how your mare is doing.